And here we are, fellow refiners. It is time for the Severance Season 2 finale, Cold Harbour. And as always, I'm joined by my fellow refiners from the WNR department, Jose L, Marie S, and David L. And again, we'd like to apologise for the delay, because just as my outie delayed episode 9 coming out, Jose's outie also went on holiday, delaying us like a shambolic rube. Well, Jose, I hope your outie went somewhere nice at least. Where did your outie go? Do you know?
I want to say it was a big city. So nice they named it twice. But I can't remember quite that much.
Again, makes me think that Jose's undergoing reintegration because he shouldn't remember anything about what his outie has done. So, are we ready to engage in choreography and merriment? Praise Keir on what will be one of the most important days in human history. Refiners, do you have verve?
So much verve.
I got
do you
the
have
verve.
wiles?
I got the wiles.
Well, fortunately, we won't be sacrificing any of you this episode. Bring in the marching band and let's commence the goodly splendours with a final episode of Severance Season 2, Cold Harbour. So, of course, Mark gets the previously on, because now we're going to get a lot of Mark in this episode. And our recap includes lots of goats, lots of Mark and Gemma. We basically get their whole relationship recapped in a very well put together sequence. We get Gretchen and Dylan's innie throuple issues. We get Holly and Mark's unsanctioned erotic encounters. And there's a really clever bit here that isn't a really clever edit, I know straight away. You got Helly and Mark, and then she says, "Would you like that?" And then it cuts to Gemma saying, "Really?" in the flashback. I was like, nice, because already you're setting up right there in the recap. Does Mark prefer Helly in the recap? Foreshadowing. And then we have Beehive and Cabell at the end of episode 9. Straight into the credits, no preamble, first scene.
Right, yeah, that caught me.
I was like, where are the credits? Well, it was a long episode. I think it's clocked in around 75 minutes of actual episode. My first question is, have you finished Cold Harbour?
I mean, no, because people were on fucking holiday.
David, have you finished Cold Harbour?
I built a pram. I built a cot.
Dark. Very dark.
I didn't take it apart.
What does that mean?
It means, have you finished Cold Harbour?
I don't actually know what he's going on about either. I just kind of said that because that's what Cold Harbour was. I don't know what's happening here.
It was a good answer. David.
It was
Thank
a
you,
good
Neil.
answer.
I built a cot.
Well then, she is still alive. We can save her. And only says who, and it's like Miss Casey, Gemma. And how good was the music in this opening scene? I was like, oh, they're going for like epic setup music there. And Devon's reaction shots are so on point here. So on point. So we get Marie's favourite creepy Egan.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Jane. He's very upset at the way Helly was at the press conference. He threw a tin of candies.
I think it was interesting how he confirmed he had sired many other children, and he didn't see Keir in them, and didn't see Keir even in Helena, but he saw Keir in Helly.
He did see Keir in Helena when she was younger, but as she grew older, she grew out of it.
You're right.
I do not love my daughter. I used to see Keir in her.
Cold, man. Cold.
So mean, yeah.
And we know it's definitely Helly because her rejoinder to that is, "You sound like a great dad."
Yeah, no, I mean, that would have broken Helena.
I love how she's just looking at him the entire time. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Like, but she has that pen in her hand as a weapon.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have hesitated. I would have gone straight for the jugular. Like, he's a thin old man. I think I could have taken him down in like a second. I think that would have like resolved a lot of hardship.
That was literally my first note in that scene: is stab him, Helly.
Okay, well, I know you guys are going to resort to murder the first chance you get. Like, no hesitation.
God,
Honestly,
you're fucking weird.
I thought she was going to go for the leg just to kind of slow him down. He's like, you can't chase me when you have a limp.
I mean, I think he can barely walk anyway. He's just like a...
She didn't need the pen, let's face it. She could have just, like...
punched him.
And then, that would have been under that.
Thrown some elbows. But yeah, like you said, Jose, earlier, I side others in the shadows. And I was like, well, we knew that from the previous episodes. Do we think there are secret Egans? And do we think there is another secret Egan already in the cast that we may have seen?
Ooh, interesting.
No.
I don't think so.
Not obvious, not like main characters. For like a second there, you just saw me react, and I thought Miss Huang But like,
to be honest, it did cross my mind as well. But I don't think that would have made that much sense.
I don't think enough time has passed for that to be a possibility.
Well, it depends. We don't know how long he's been
Siring.
siring these kids for. It could have been a long time.
Yeah.
He's really fucking old as well. So
He
yeah,
is.
you never know, man.
True.
And then Helly, the Brit Lauer's delivery of the next line: "You and your family created hell, and you're going to burn in it." My God, what a delivery!
Great stuff.
So good.
I mean, Emmy clip. You can't. Every actor in the show delivers their lines in a way that you could see them getting awards for. Every actor.
Mhm.
And then that next shot, you get that awesome silhouette shot with her then facing off inside profile, where she's holding the pen. And it looked like, honestly, that shot, it reminded me of like the bit from Kill Bill with the silhouette shot. I was like, holy shit. It's like a
Oh, yeah.
Tarantino style shot they're going for here. And then, of course, when she faces off with him, that's when James says to her, there he is.
Mhm.
Oh, creepy.
Was Keir just like an arsehole then? Like a
Oh,
complete,
yeah.
like a maniac, like a proper maniac, kind of like aggressive, ultra aggressive person all the time. If that's the only time.
Definitely.
Well,
I feel like he was like the racist megalomaniac Colonel Sanders of his day.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I mean, we've done this comparison a lot, but it like it does kind of remind me of the Mormon Church and that like the head of the founder of the Mormon Church, who kind of has like
Joseph something.
Joseph Smith.
Joseph Smith,
That's it.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that because
there's
of South Park.
And Brigham Young is the guy he passes it to.
Yeah. So it's like, and yeah, that was culty and stuff like that. And I think there's a lot of inspiration like taken from like these like figures of history that like built these like empires on extremely weird and shady and culty circumstances.
it really solidified for me personally that James does believe all of this bullshit that he throws and not just like uses it to control his employees. So I was like, damn, this is really
Well,
going.
you never know because we haven't seen enough of him to
But
really.
no,
Yeah.
but he believes it to the point that he doesn't love his own daughter. Like it's like that is
Why did he feel the need to say it to the innie though?
I think he felt
Because-
safe enough to say it.
Well,
this is kind of like it ties back into the innie fetish that I was saying before. Like it's just I don't know, he has a thing with innies. Like
But I think it could potentially lead to my last point with this scene, which is that Jane thinks Helly has Keir inside her, but not Helena.
mhm.
So telling her that, I don't love my daughter. Maybe I don't know what. I mean, I'm not getting.
Is he
inside
saying that he
his
loves
brain.
I think
her?
it's a way to convince her to trust him, maybe.
I
to
mean,
try
it
to.
definitely sets up a lot of possibilities for future seasons. With okay, so Helly suddenly might be very important going forward in future seasons in the eyes of what Jane and the Egan's want to do with the running of the company. That could definitely become a big point. What do you want from me? What does he want from her?
I think he just wants her to take over and to be a successor.
What?
I think it's as simple as
Helly
that.
though, not Helena.
Exactly. I want the fact that
She
he
does
sees
look
Keir in
very
her.
confused, doesn't she? At the end.
Yeah, I mean I think we all were.
To embrace Keir and
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
become Keir.
So we're back in the cabin, and the plan seems to be that Mark is going to complete Cold Harbour, but then they need to find Gemma really quickly, seems to be the plan. Now I have to question this immediately. How do they not know for certain that the moment Mark completes Cold Harbour, that Gemma didn't die instantly? Because I was like,
Well, because
Miss
Cobell knows it. Yeah, she knows that they will have to do like a final test.
During this conversation, though, this is where the first time I was like, oh, Severance, Severed Heist. I was like, Severed Heist.
Severed
Yeah.
Heist.
Like,
Hashtag
yes,
Severed Heist.
Severed Heist.
I literally have that in my notes. Like I've got like Act 1 cabin, Act 2 Cold Harbor, and then Act 3 Severed Heist. I also wrote that down like that.
Awesome.
And this is where we are told flat out for the first time as well that the chips are tuned to different floors. So then they explain, so once you get to testing, you'll be your outie again. And yeah, like you would like, David, I was like, wait a minute. So their plan involves them switching between innie and outie to get her out. That's awesome.
Severed Heist.
Severed Heist. And if it was just that, it would still be an amazing episode, but we get so much more on top of that. And so, did we know this before that each floor has a different kind of like chip and effect?
Yeah,
Because like, we
with
knew
the
the
gem
seventh floor was
episode.
the thing, but I didn't know that different floors have different levels of severance.
Yeah.
I suppose we did kind of from Gemma's episode.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a complicated plan. A lot of things could go wrong. Here's my next note.
Yeah.
I mean,
A lot of
they
things
kinda
did
do.
go wrong.
Yeah.
Well, Devon does sum it up the
Foreshadowing.
best. She's like, look, and in pure Devon style, she says, look, I know this is a fucking lot, man. So, Innie and Outie Mark need to work together to get Gemma and Miss Casey out of there.
Oh, I didn't read.
But then, of course, and then he asks, well, what happens to every Innie on the 7th floor? And then Devon's just kind of like, yeah, and looks at Cobell. And I was like, oh, are they all died? And then this brings forward the question of all that are Innies actually people? Do we think
They
they're
are
separate
people.
I kind of started questioning it again in this because of what they said.
What
They're
No,
people.
makes you
man.
question that they're not people? They're
Because
us.
it's one body, right? It's still one body.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the
It's-
way I kind of see it is like multiple personality disorder. Like, I mean, that's like a real disorder, and it's like it's different people just sharing one body. Like, so
Imagine it like you got a Siamese twin. Is that what they're called? Siamese twins? Where
Yes.
you got another head attached to your body?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got two people, you can both control body functions, but then what are you saying that that's just one person?
No, because there's two people. There's literally a second.
Two personalities,
There
two
you go.
minds.
but yeah, and that's the
That-
same with
no.
Severance.
There you
like-
go, David. I mean, it goes back to the idea that it's just a fresh personality with all the baggage of us growing
Yeah.
up. I think that's what it is.
Interestingly, Cabell says it doesn't have to end your life. Immediately on it, I was like, I call bullshit on that immediately. I was like,
Well, she's referring to the reintegration.
That's the thing. She may have been, but at the same time, knowing now that we know, like she may know something else because she's the one who invented fucking Severance. So she may
Right.
actually know something that might be revealed later
He wouldn't
on.
want it to die, right? She wouldn't want her creation to just be like,
No.
to chuck it out. If anything,
No.
I think she wants recognition for it,
mm,
you know,
Yeah.
based on what we saw. So,
And honestly, she may know of how to create other areas for people with severed personalities to
Let's-
go explore.
well, we'll find
Just
out,
saying.
won't we?
That's a bonus episode moment. So
Jose, now we get into the bit that you really wanted to talk about.
the conversation.
Mark gets his outie Mark finally has to talk to himself on an old mini DV camera. And again, I was like, tech. I had a camera that looked exactly like that. That is a mini DV cam tape. And that tech is late 90s, early 2000s at the earliest here.
This
Mhm.
it also stood out to me because smartphones do exist. So the fact that they were doing that on an old video camera also, I don't know, like
It is interesting. Yeah.
it is interesting, yeah.
I love how it's the Gollum / Smeagol conversation. It starts off with him taking time to just go record, then stop, then walk, record, stop, but then it just starts going back and forth with the videos.
it was really well edited how they did
Oh.
it, how they split between the two people. Like start recording and then you're hearing the response, and then it's it was all
But
really
did
well
you
done.
notice as well the lighting? For this section, I'm going to call O Mark, Outie Mark, I Mark for Innie Mark. O Mark has dark blue colours on him. I Mark has red flames on him.
From the fireplace.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
again,
Oh,
it's very
man.
that's done very well. Obviously, the performance, like you
Nice.
say, and this gets into what I think we mentioned off camera or possibly in the other episode. I forget now. It all blends into one. But Jose, where you were saying about the creator of the show, Dan Erickson, actually said, think of the Innies like children. In season 1, they've just been born into their severed world, and now in season 2, they're kind of like petulant adolescents with all the rebellion and all the unsanctioned erotic entanglements going on. And of course, as we know, Outie Mark is a bit of a knob.
He
So
is.
he kind of comes off a bit smarmy. He kind of comes off as a bit of a
I mean,
dick.
it starts off well, like, and also
Starts
like
off seemingly well-intentioned.
Innie Mark seems to be so happy to be getting a message from Outie Mark. I found that so cute. Like he was just genuinely excited to talk to his Outie. And then the conversation just derails because Mark makes one fatal, actually, in my opinion, he does two fatal mistakes.
What is the first?
The first was Helene. Like
Oh, yeah.
that when
Oh,
he said
man.
Helene, I
Helene.
literally said out loud, dude. Like
Yeah.
it's just like bro, that is the basic thing that like you need like to show
Like,
that you
Oh,
care.
he fucked up. He fucked
Yeah.
up.
He fucked up. Yeah, that's when
fucked up.
everything turned.
Yeah.
But
Literally, my note after that, Marie, literally says, oh shit, I don't trust Outie Mark at all now.
yeah.
Also, like, I forget what the comment he said to Mark, but then Mark kind of innocently is like, "Oh, okay, explain."
Oh,
'Cause he was
the
like-
reintegration. He's like,
reintegration.
let
Yeah,
me
it's
tell
like,
you
"Oh,
about
but it's
reintegration.
complicated." He's like, "All right, tell me about it."
And he's like,
And then-
I liked also Innie's Mark point of view because I was thinking about that because I said that when the first reintegration scene happened where I was gonna say like I'm gonna miss Innie Mark because he's like, well, if there's like also he says 20 years and like we'd established that Adam Scott is a lot older than that, but it's a little flattering for him.
you give him a haircut and he's young again.
He's young again, but then he's like, yeah, but you have lived more life. So what does that in comparison of my life? Like, it's a valid point.
Yeah. And like you said, he's trying to explain it. And he's like, well, look, this life belongs to the both of us. But then I was like, well, they need to reintegrate everyone. How does it work? Good question, Innie Mark. Good question.
Good. Yeah.
And it's like, and like you said at the start, you're kind of on side with Outie Mark because he explains why he did it. He's like, oh, look, it was easier pretending she didn't exist. You're just like, oh man, like looming doesn't have to be your whole life.
For me, the second fuck up is he didn't mention Petey.
Right?
That if he mentioned Petey, I think the episode would have turned out a whole lot differently because that is someone they know. If he would have said, hey, remember Petey, your best friend, the person you were so distraught about losing, I know him too, and he went through reintegration. So that would have been like another connection point, but...
And then died in the street.
Yeah, I would have left that part out.
He's around somewhere
he's,
in the ground.
He's alive and kicking. Don't ask me where he ended up. But I thought
He's
that
on a
would have
farm
been another
upstate.
like connection you could have with your Outie, the same person that you know. Not saying like, oh, my love is so much better than your love. Like that's when he's like, imagine what you have with Helene, but 1,000 times better. I'm just like, dude, that is such a dickish thing to say. Like, it's like when you get that very annoying couple who says, oh, my relationship is so much better than yours. Like, always tries to trump someone else's relationship. Like, that's how it felt. Like, I just like, dick move, dude.
Well, and of course it leads to him saying, can't you trust me? No.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outie's Mark, his response is he's a fucking child. He won't listen.
Yeah, because they are.
He is a child, literally. It's like,
I never liked them being referred to as children just because of all the unsanctioned workplace entanglements. But also he's technically talking about himself, which I thought was funny.
yeah.
What's funny is he's like, he thinks like reintegration's bullshit. But then what does Devon say? Devon kind of like gives us like a nod or a shrug there.
Yeah.
And I was like, how does she know reintegration's bullshit? Has it been established it doesn't work? There's that look to Cabell when she says it, but then it's smoothed over. And now, this is what I was going to mention at the start of the scene that I wanted to mention. Did Mark actually need to go through any of this reintegration stuff? It's like because it wouldn't have made a difference. Because the whole setup for this is he gets to talk to his innie and his outie. Great, do it at the birthday.
They wouldn't have phoned Cabell without it.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
That is a good point.
Bar that,
it is kind of weird.
Forgotten. It's kind of we mentioned this in the last episode. It kind of the reintegration thing kind of got pushed away after that. I mean, obviously the whole time he's with Cabell, she can just like, oh yeah, he's having a brain seizure. Let me get in there and fix it. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, shit, man. I like to have us at the end here. I don't trust Outie Mark now because they both love someone completely different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as we know, that's
so why does that change who you trust?
Yeah, I don't see why you.
Well, I feel like
I don't get a
Outie
trust
Mark is
difference there. It's
more... I feel like the show's trying to put us more on Innie Mark's side than Outie Mark.
No. I think the oppositely. I think the show's trying to put you on Outie Mark's side instead of Innie Mark's side.
Interesting.
But to be honest, no, because like Mark does like speak the bullshit when he's like saying like, oh, I started reintegration because I recognize how unfair this is for you. That is bullshit. He started reintegration because he wanted to know if his wife was still alive. So he's like lying through his teeth in that moment, which is why I think
Mark sees through the bullshit.
Exactly, because Innie Mark is him. So it's like you cannot connect. And then like in terms of Devon in the scene, I just think like Devon herself is a very empathetic character. Because I think more her like calling bullshit on reintegration, I think she is also like having that same point as Innie Mark, where like Innie Mark kind of just fades into Outie Mark and doesn't really exist because you're no longer one person, you're two people. I also really need to apologize for to Devon because like I called her plan extremely stupid and she's like turns out to be the smartest person in the series. So because because like I think when I said like the cabin idea and the Cobell idea was just ridiculous. No, it wasn't. I really apologize to her for
I
that.
mean, yeah, if she just had the idea earlier on, you wouldn't have had to go through any of the integration stuff. If like her and Mark had just had a conversation, oh, babe, but this is cabin, and yeah, that's where the in is and outs. If she'd
To be
explained that
honest,
to Alty Mark,
but to be
then of
fair,
course
they
we would
wouldn't
have had,
have gotten in without Cobell. They
yeah.
wouldn't have
Yeah.
gone in without Cobell. That is another thing.
And speaking of Cabell, she's like, look, let me have a chat to him. I know what to say. And we finally get concrete answers that we're all speculating on. And Marie's gonna go and do your little celebration dance.
I told you so. I told you so.
Cobell explains the numbers are your wife. The MDR numbers, they are a doorway into your wife's Alty's mind, Gemma Scout. Answers! Actual answers. Well done, writers. Well done, Dan Erickson.
Yep.
Well done, Ben Stiller. Brilliant.
And well done, Marie.
Oh yeah, well done, Marie.
I have very little going on in my life, so this means a lot to me.
Oh,
So, what do you see when you look at the numbers? The tempers. And this is what I was mentioning last episode. It's the obvious answer from everything that we've been fed, and it's just great writing. The satisfaction from going, yes, that's what we thought it was, is so much better than a stupid twist or a gotcha moment when it's so well crafted and it's in reference to building the characters and explaining the story they've set up over the time. And it is the building blocks of her mind. But as he says, what am I building? Every file you complete is a new consciousness for her, a new innie. Now my question here is, cool, but why? Because we don't get the answer to why they're doing this still.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a blocker, isn't it? It was all about the blocker. Like that's what I thought anyway. Because we can get into what Cold Harbour was when we talk about it.
Yeah.
But because it was like the biggest emotional moment that happened in her life, and that was like the blocker for it. Did it hold?
So it's kind of like scaling up then.
Yeah,
to
testing. Whether
raising up the traumatic element to the most traumatic element of her life, which would be Cold Harbour. Okay, yeah, gotcha.
Because
gotcha,
the end goal is taming the four tempers, because that's how Keir believes like you reach enlightenment and become like
Mecha Keir.
Yeah.
Exactly, like the mega version of yourself, like putting you through moments that will like cause stress and anxiety and like make you feel things.
Yeah.
Okay, we know those are Mark's files, but what about the other files? MDR has 3 other people, and we know that they've completed files. And how I understood it, files aren't interchangeable. Because otherwise
they weren't all working on her, were they? They were
exactly, because otherwise they would have assigned Cold Harbour to Dylan or something like that. Like, Mark's not here, finish Cold Harbour.
Yeah, literally, Marie, exactly what you said was I had the exact thing written down next as well. Have there been previous attempts with other people? I feel like there must be, because like you just said, other refiners were working on other files. When we had the 3 other refiners come in at the start of the season for about 2 scenes... What were they working on? Were they working on different people as well? Because if someone working on a file has to have a connection to the person, is there going to be like a reveal potentially in the future where you see all these other rooms and all these other testing floors and every file is connected to another person they're experimenting on? That's would be
a bonus
massive.
Episode comment.
Which should be something we'll get into in a bonus episode.
But that is where I think you're at, mate. I think you're right, like with that. But then where the elevator goes, it only seems to go down to.
We have not seen all of Lumin yet at all. Not even close, I don't think.
But I maybe like they figured out Mark's the key. Like they figured out you need to have like an emotional connection to someone, and that's why all the other files weren't working. And that's why Mark became so important. They expired, but because because Dylan is technically the number 1 refiner. He has all the perks. He's completed the majority of the files. But that's why, and then Irv has been there the longest. So it's always I was asking the question is like, why is Mark more important than all these other people?
And why is Gemma more important than potentially these other people, although we haven't seen these potential other people yet? And then, of course, Cobell says to him, tomorrow will be your last day at Lumen.
Is that it? Like, does the refiner only get 25 files and then you're fired. Like,
No, I think it's because they're gonna attempt to break Gemma out. So either way, the goal is to break Gemma out and for him not to return.
no, I think the way she said it is like either way, tomorrow's
done.
your
There,
last
that's
day
how
of
I saw it as well.
I saw it
Yeah.
that way,
day
yeah.
of Illumin. If you break Gemma out or not, either way, you're dead.
So once Cold Harbour was finished, I think they were like we knew that they were going to get rid of Gemma, but they
Yeah.
were also going to get rid of Mark.
Get rid of Mark. Yeah, I think
and
that's
MDR as a
implied.
whole.
I disagree.
No,
I
but
still-
Show you're
Kelly
working.
also
Show you're
says
working,
that.
Jose.
I just don't understand how, like, if let's say the Audi's situation wasn't going on and it was just any Mark working on this, they complete 25, Gemma dies, and then what are they going to just fire him in general for finishing
Yeah.
those files?
They'd get rid of they'd say
But
they'd probably be something like your innie has completed his task, the job's done. Yeah, so he'd be
Then
kind
what
of
about
fired.
Dylan and Nerve? They've been
Well,
longer.
again, they're working on different files, and we don't know what files they're working on. And
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what we
that's all going to
said,
be
yeah.
revealed as the seasons go on.
I think we're gonna agree to disagree.
Or like because we've speculated this before because it was in like the thing in the control room, they're gonna reset him because
Mm,
we
that makes more
Ah.
sense. I think
reset
that makes-
an option.
But the key point with Mark is like you say, they've realised that the connection between Mark and Gemma is the strongest one they've seen, which is why it's the most important day in the history of the world and all this kind of stuff. And as Mark says to Cabell here, why are you telling me this? What are you doing here, really? And we still don't know her motives.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true.
it cuts away, but like I was just like, why aren't you telling him you invented Severance? Like I just like maybe she did because it cuts away, but I was just like that would have been another way. It's just like because I built this fucking thing, and I want credit.
And of course, then we get her one of her best lines of the episode. There will be no honeymoon ending for you and Heliar. She's an Egan. And then obviously, Innie Mark is getting a little bit pissed off at this point, and he's like, "If I'm not back on that floor," I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, he's threatening him, and then her line, "They'll discard you like a skin husk."
Yeah.
But then she says,
Yeah. I was
This is
about
the
to
line.
say, did you catch it?
"Yeah, I care for you." Why though? We don't know.
It's a little weird.
That
weird.
was such a weird line.
Why does Cobell care for Mark? She's shown no emotion to anyone in anything else.
I mean, she had like an interest of him. That's why she moved like next to him and stuff like that, and kept tabs on him. Yeah, it was Milkshake right about the throuple situation. I don't know. But yeah, that was such an odd line.
It might be like how because I always felt like she was testing him like constantly throughout in the first season, like constantly testing stuff, like taking stuff from his trash and putting it in a round and stuff like that. And it might just be how somebody gets an emotional attachment to like the testing animal that they've been with for 2 or 3 years. If you've been with something for 2 or 3 years, you're going to get some sort of emotional
That could be it.
emotional thing to them.
It's dark and disturbing, but yeah, it could be. It could be
What's the term when a prisoner falls in love for a
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome,
yeah.
but in reverse.
Reverse. I just feel like maybe she just feels bad for him, even it's because she knows about Gemma. Because in the first season, she takes the candle from his basement that was hers and puts it in the room when he's talking to Miss Casey, trying to see.
No, but that's to get push the connection up more, isn't it?
To test
but I
it,
mean,
the
it's
It's not
Severance
to be
is
nice;
working.
it's to push along the project.
Guess.
I thought she did that like unsanctioned from what
Yeah.
Severance. That was like her own testing.
The testing.
Like just yeah, that wasn't a Severance.
But
Like
no, I
test,
agree with Marie.
a lumen test. Sorry, that was a. I'm back.
I know, I agree with Marie though. The way she says it, but then again, perhaps she's just saying whatever she can to stop him going out, and then as again that transition shot from Mark walking out of the cabin into the elevator is so good. It's the best transition. Like, chef's kiss.
Yeah.
What an amazing shot. What amazing edit, man. And what Mark has stormed out and he's now back on the 7th floor. And now it's the painting that everyone wants. There is an amazing new mural of Mark finishing Cold Harbour in the lobby. And every character from the show seems to be in it. And again, the music is so stunning here as you've used a painting. Why is Mark's eyes closed in this kind of weird bliss?
It's like this angelic pose, like the it's
I saw one post saying there's only one person that he is not that he has interacted with that is not in that mural. And do you
And
know
that
who
is-
that is?
No.
Dr. Agabi. So obviously
She's not in it.
she's not in it.
No, but Lumen would know about her.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But she's Outie only.
So she's still secret, so they don't know anything about what's going on with her. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, the mural itself is interesting that they included people out of Audi. Like Devin is in there, Rickon is in there. Who like now Mark does technically know, but it's weird. Like again, reminding the Audis of the outside world, reminding the innies of the outside world.
But the big thing for me looking at that was you have Helena, or is it Helly, in charge at the top of the world's biggest waterfall. Helena is smack bang in the center of that file. Or
Yeah, well, she's on it twice. Well, she's there as Helly and then as there as Helena.
Technically 3 times then, because you've got the weird doppelganger ones are in there from the outside
You're
episode
right.
as well.
You've got the weird cloney things.
Yeah, the weird clone thing. So she's in it 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's like thinks very highly of herself. Do you imagine it's like Helena commissioning this painting and it's just like, yeah, I need to be in it at least 3 times.
I mean, she's like the head of the company, Mark. You know?
In a way, it's just the way it's really just Mark who he has interacted with, and so that's why they don't know about Dr. Agabi because the company doesn't know about her.
But didn't she used to work for them?
Well, that was unclear. Like I thought she did, but I don't know it was ever confirmed.
And also, are we ever going to see the refiners from episode 1 back again?
I don't know. They're in the background.
I kind of want to.
They're there.
They're
I
there.
liked those guys. Those guys were cool, man.
They're all, I mean, I hadn't seen the Italian actor before, but the other 2, Alia Shawkat, who was in Arrested Development, she's a hilarious actress. And is it Bob Babalan, the old guy with the glasses? He's been in a lot of Coen Brothers stuff. He's brilliant.
Mark W. That's Mark W. Come on.
Mark W.
I want to say one thing I do about this painting, and I know this is very difficult as someone who studied art, but the hands are just so out of whack. Like, especially
hands
like
Miss
Wong's. Yeah, they look like crap. They look like Lego hands. But that's like it's kind of uncanny valley situation there.
And of course, here's Helly. I have something to tell you. Me too. Yeah, you guys got a lot to talk about. And again, though, just the music is so good in here. And fuck me, creepy Keir figure with the letter for Mark. I absolutely creased up in this scene when Helly just moves her head around to get a look to make sure it isn't real, or just so she's like, what in the fuck is this?
I would have just turned out of there. I would have just gone, nope.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Just pick it up and put it outside or something.
Exactly. I don't want it to stare at me.
And of course, the letter says, "Goodly splendours await upon your victory. Love, Mr. Milchek." And it was the love that absolutely did me in. I was just, the way I read it in my head, I was just like, "Love, Mr. Milchek." Like, what?
He's
I was
trying.
like, well, that's nice of him. Is it going to be a waffle party card? And then, this is what I wasn't sure of, because then the lights come on and they're in their office.
Yeah.
Or had they just took that and put it in a different room? Because is it usually the lights coming off when they walk in and coming on? So I didn't know whether they were in the same room or not.
It's their normal office, but they set the lights that way because you know that because in the next scene that we see Milkshake, he actually turns the lights on, which I thought was such a funny touch. Because so they set those lights to be like this and not like
Really creepy.
Yeah, exactly, really creepy atmosphere for Helly and Mark. But the second Dylan comes, he's like, nope, lights go on.
Yeah.
But what's funny here is all the scenes start kind of blending together in a second now. And Helly mentions about Jane Egan, and Mark's like, I know why. And we get Dylan, and he's like, Dylan and Milkshake, and it's a very quick scene. He's just like, he said no. What does Milkshake say?
What?
Oh, well,
To
before he
Dylan.
legs it out the roof.
I'm duly swamped.
I am
Yeah.
duly swamped. That's a t-shirt right there.
And
The
legs
way
it out the
legs
room.
it out of the room. Oh,
So funny.
that was so funny, and it got me. And I
Have you
think
seen a gif
was
of
that
it?
real?
Have they sped it up? Is it
the
sped
gif
up in the show or just in a gif?
I think they just sped it up to make it more funny, where he legs it out like the Roadrunner. But I posed the theory like a few episodes ago, the milkshake clone theory, where people have speculated that Milkshake might be a clone because he seems to
Yes,
be
a lot of work to do.
everywhere at once. But it turns out he just runs everywhere.
Yeah.
Like
Dude's
He's
got
fit.
good cardio.
He's fit, man. Have you
he's
seen it?
fit.
And so we also find out here the painting is called The Exalted Victory of Cold Harbour.
Yep.
And then we see Gemma for the first time in this episode. Briefly, very briefly. What I loved here is Mark, in these couple of cutaways we've had, Mark has explained everything to Helly. That was such a quick and efficient way to deal with lots of unnecessary exposition that we as the audience know, like we didn't need. And it's just like, boom, straight into Helly going, okay, so we're basically screwed either way.
Mm-hmm.
You see Gemma sensing something's wrong, and they have her put on her death coat.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, don't put on the death coat.
Yep.
And then I've got the crying emoji in the next bit. When we have Mark and Helly, and he's like, yeah, but I want to live with you. But I am her,
Oh,
Mark.
don't.
Oh, that is just. Oh, so
David
sweet.
needs milk.
Just take a moment.
Yeah.
There's some interesting speculations that in this scene right here in that moment, some people even think that she's actually Helena again.
I don't. I
I'm
think
not
she
saying
is
it's right.
No,
Helly. I think
she's too
like,
Helly.
I think the switch is like they're not gonna do it again. Like it's
Okay.
otherwise it's too repetitive. No, she is Helly, but I think she's kind of accepted herself. Innies and outies are kind of the same because like before that in the previous episode you had Dylan's like quip where he's like, well, nobody noticed that Helena was here. And then she was like, Irv did, and then Dylan like to twist the knife. Mark didn't. Just like fucking
Yeah.
bastard.
Ooh,
But I think that
ouch.
comment really got to her
Ouch.
and like how people see her innies and outies.
Mark gets back to work, and we're now at 98% complete on Cold Harbour. Of course, we cut back to Dylan, and he's looking at he reads out his letter from his outie.
Oh wow, yeah, this is
3
great.
points. Point 1, fuck you. Point 2, another new favourite insult, deeply fucking indecorous. Indecorous? Indecorous.
Indecorous.
Indecorous. Deeply fucking indecorous. Another favourite new one. Again, the music that comes in behind him is so sad and like tragic. You don't expect outie Dylan to write something so eloquent, and he's just like,
Yeah.
I've never been an impressive person. I was like, no. It was just, oh man. And he's like, I kind of like the idea that down there you're some like self-assured badass, and I hope that someday she sees in me what she sees in you. And then he says as well, you can leave, but it's your decision. I mean, Outie Dylan's a bit of a fucking hero here, isn't he?
I was gonna say,
Like,
to me, this like shows like what a healthy relationship could be between your innie and outie.
right?
Like, this could technically work if Lumen wasn't like a complete weird culty place.
My next note is like said like, and then as Milkshake rushes off before that, I was like, why is Milkshake rushing though? And then I was like, and I was writing this as I was watching it and pausing it the second time. I was like, he's going to set up a waffle party, right? No, Neil, something even more spectacular. Which brings us to 99%. And we have another conversation with Mark and Helly, and they're talking about places. And I was like, of course, because they haven't been anywhere, so they don't know the names of anywhere. It's only names of places they've obviously seen when they're in like stuff when they're down on the 7th floor. And he goes, can we talk about other places other than Delaware? And any jokes about Delaware, I would always love, because there's a joke in Wayne's World where they're like, oh, they do it in front of a CGI background, and they're like, oh, hey, we're in this place, and they go, hey, we're in Delaware. Yeah, we're in Delaware. And the capital, I think the capital of Delaware is Dover, and I live in the Delaware of England. So there, go figure. But yeah, they don't know what Europe is. They don't know what the equator is. They have no frame of reference. They're like a child wandering in the dark. That is a Big Lebowski reference for anyone who call that. The sadness of this scene again. But it's kind of a bit more positive because, like, you know, they're vibing really, really well in this scene.
Oh, they have such good chemistry.
Yeah, but that's the thing about the show. Every character, every pairing, all do. And that's what makes this show so good. Yeah, normally this would be the Mark and Helly show, except it's not, because you've also got Gresham and Dylan knocking it out of the park. You've also got Bert and Irv knocking it out of the park. And you even got so much internal stuff to deal with Milkshake as well. And as she says,
Mark
I
and
wish we had...
Gemma.
Yeah, Mark
Mark
and
obviously
Gemma.
There as well.
Forgot
Like-
Gemma, sadly.
Whole,
Whoops.
the whole core of the show.
Whole reason. And I wish we had more time. So do we, Helly. But that's season 3. And then it's done. It's complete. 100% of Cold Harbour.
But the way they complete it together, like like they do the ghost thing, but instead of
Also-
the pot, it's the numbers. It's so
Also,
cute.
it was a happy memory. Do you guys remember that? It was a happy memory.
At least it's a happy one.
And then I've got When the Lights Go Out. And I was like, wait a minute, this new music is awesome. This is my favourite music in the show. I was like, yeah, this has got a beat to it. What is this? This is really cool. And I was like, wait, are they hearing the music as well? Or is it just for the audience? I was like, no, they're definitely hearing it because they're like looking around going, what the hell's going on? And then creepy robot Keir is talking to them again. Marcus, you have drawn my grand agendum nearer to fulfillment. Hail your earthbound steward, your very own floor manager. And I was like, wait, did they mean Milchek? And then I love the fact this epic build to this song just drops completely. And then Milchek arrives on stage to like really bad fake applause. And I'm just dying. I am dying at this point.
How it's all mistimed as well, just
Yeah.
slightly mistimed. Like, oh, it's so funny.
It's like watching a really bad Oscars, isn't
Yeah.
it? With like two really bad.
Yeah.
It's like watching the James Franco and Hathaway Oscars. This is just bad, but we can't stop watching.
Oh.
They were
I missed
bad.
that one. I was thinking it's like
Everyone wished they missed that one, Jose.
watching a local production from a team that's kind of new at it.
Yeah, it's like bad Amdram theatre, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
deeply weird, and I could not get enough of it. Who was feeding the lines to the animatronics?
Yeah, because it
That's
seemed
what I'm
at the
wondering.
beginning, it seems like
Pre-recorded.
pre-recorded, self-programmed by Mr. Milchek. And
Yeah.
but then when they started having a bit of beef,
Yeah, they started getting a
Yeah.
bit nasty.
I love the
The
beef.
sad look on
Things got
Milchek's
heated.
face when he says, "My, you're verbose."
death.
I put again Milchek with the big words #racist robot. And the what the fuck reaction shots from Mark and Helly are superb. They're just like, what are we witnessing here? And then the sad look on Milchek's face when he says, "Good thing you didn't write the first appendix; it would have burst." I was like, "That's a David joke." I bet David laughed his head off at that joke.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, Milkshake is like, "Fuck you, evil robot Keir." I was getting Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey vibes here. I was just like, hey, it's evil robot us's.
Yes. Oh man.
I was like, who was feeding the lines? Was it Jane? The only people I could think of, it was either Drummond or Jane. It had like one of those.
I thought it could have been the board. Like actually
the actual
that's what I've
board.
heard.
The actual
talking
board.
to it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
didn't think that, but
board.
that's a good point. Yeah, my thought was Drummond, but yeah, that's a great point.
I feel like there's more characters waiting to be revealed in season 3.
Oh,
honestly.
Of course, man. But then I like how he fires back with, "No, I mean this wax statue of you that is 5 inches taller than you actually were." It's like, oh,
Burn.
that,
I like
no,
that.
Jane. Get it, Seth. Get it.
Oh no,
Yeah.
he did.
Nice.
Thank you for that feedback, Seth. And that is insultingly said back to him, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like,
Mhm.
like he really
Attitude.
hates that name. Like he hates being called Seth. Like,
Well, I don't think he hates it. I just think every time someone calls him Seth, it's done as a
Yes,
fuck
Seth.
you, isn't it?
Do it.
It's like the worst way you could say someone's name. It'd be like if I went, David,
Mhm.
Jose, the word Marie. It's like an insult the way I'm saying the name.
Neil.
Yeah, there you go. You got it, Jose, with the program.
I had to keep you
And
in the loop.
now, may I introduce choreography and merriment? Yes, you may. Oh, yes, you may. And I love that the very first shot we see of them, we hear the drumming, and the very first brief shot we see is like a GoPro strapped to the drummer, and you just see this kind of quick bit, and then again, this sequence is so well put together because you have Gemma getting ready to go, the nurse goes, "Let's go," and then boom, the song kicks in, and yeah, the editing here is amazing. The green and blue colors matching Helly's outfit, and of course, you have a fucking marching band in MDR with Milchek, of course, Milchek, as the conductor, or as we call it, Defiant Jazz Part 2. I mean, this takes Defiant Jazz and just like
raises it.
raises the bar of Defiant Jazz.
But before that, we just also had the hilarious scene of him dragging away the robot. That is the moment that really got me. His like smile is just like, it's so funny.
I mean, I was not expecting this episode to be so hilarious.
Oh yeah,
It was
So
so
random.
funny, yeah.
So
It
random.
was-
And
It's so
I love his dancing. And Jose, did you say he basically choreographed this himself or something? Milchek.
I didn't say that. That'd be
Oh,
awesome if it did.
I saw on Twitter that this was improvised because
improvised. That's it. I'd heard that somewhere.
Because when I first saw the scene, I thought it was in his contract that he gets a dance sequence every season. because like who wouldn't? Because
I gotta
boy,
admit,
that
he's
man
really
can
good.
move.
He's
Like,
got some moves.
He's got some
Yeah.
shoulder action. That's
Well, Tremel Trillman is
I can't do
quite
it.
a well-established Broadway actor as well, isn't he?
Oh, is he?
Oh, really? I did not
I
know
was gonna look
that.
into
I
his
only found
background.
out. So if you ever listen to Smartless, Sean Hayes is just—they've been going on for ages about his play called Goodnight Oscar. Tremel Tillman was in that play
Wow.
with him.
Oh, interesting.
Can he sing
and
then?
it won. He must do, yeah, because he won a Tony Award. He
Oh,
won all the
that-
Tony Awards. It
That
was like
would
the big play
destroy
last
me if
year.
he sung. If that man can sing.
It's just come to the UK. Sean Hayes was promoting it on the thing, and I was listening to the latest one of theirs, and they were saying about Severance and oh yeah, like Tremel, like we all knew he was going to be like a massive star. Yeah. So my
Yeah.
next note was literally things you didn't know you needed but love, and a
Yeah.
fucking marching
A
band.
marching band. Look how
That's
much
pretty
fun
cool.
they're having. Look at this guy. He's taking it so seriously.
They're
And this
professionals,
guy's got-
David.
This guy here's got 3 drums. Look at him.
Yeah.
He's working
Oh, yeah.
overtime, this guy.
I mean, my question is, where have they been? Because this is the most we've seen, like the most people we've seen on the severed floor.
And the finale of this sequence is absolutely superb. But again, a question here: they hold up the cards to form a photo of smiling Mark saying 100% as well. But what deranged genius thought of this? Because no one can see the cards because they're up on the ceiling. It's only us as a viewer can see it.
Yeah.
Like Mark and Helly can't see that. So, you know,
Brilliant point.
I was just like, what? Why? Why would it say that?
Mhm.
Do
No
they
one
have
else can
like
see
an
it.
overhead cam for like Keir or something for like Keegan?
What could have made that
Yeah.
1% funnier is if there'd been a cameraman in the corner of the room with a tripod who's just on a ladder, just to take a picture of it. And he's
Yeah.
like just turns or something like that. And then we get James going into his little room with a computer. We get Gemma continuing her walk. We have Dr. Mauer saying the efficacy test will begin shortly. Mark needs to get going now because Cold Harbour has been completed. But no, Seth wants to perform for them the Ballad of Ambrose and Gunnell. And Mark is just trapped by a marching band. And yeah, but who doesn't want more another song? I would quite happily watch this.
I
forever.
was well into it.
Same, I was there.
Who doesn't want more Dancing Milchek in the finale? Get it, Tremel, is my note.
Yeah.
But then their last line to each other. You ready? Right. See you at the Equator. I mean, how has See You at the Equator become that scene now, hasn't it? It's just like, oh.
And we know that that's going to be like a callback. Like that's going to be like their I love
Yes.
you equivalent from now on.
Yes.
Like,
It's so cute.
it's adorable.
I've crossed the Equator 7 times.
That's awesome.
And it's... Huh?
Good for you, Neil.
Just saying. And when I did it the first time, it was my birthday for 2 days, which was amazing. My friend's birthday was the next day. That day just got wiped off the calendar and didn't exist. Poor bastard. But yeah, so double birthdays. Cross the equator on your birthday.
How does
'Cause you get
crossing
to-
the equator
Are
get
you sure
into
it's not
the-
the meridian?
Are you going because the equator's an
equator's north and
up-down
south.
thing, not a left-right thing.
I don't know the exact thing. I was on a boat, but yeah,
I
basically.
mean, you could have gone diagonally, going back in time.
Do you
the
mean you
direction
crossed
doesn't matter. The
New
day.
Zealand to
It
America,
does.
where you would have got the same day back again?
It was South Pacific somewhere. Yeah, we had the same day twice.
Yeah, but that's not an up-down.
That's
got
not the
nothing to do
equator
with the
situation.
I don't
equator.
care about the direction. I'm just telling you, I had my birthday 2 days in a row.
That,
When we
that's
crossed the
not
equator.
affected by the equator.
This is
Okay, well, it was someone else. I don't know. I was drinking a lot back then.
Clearly, you were drinking.
We need to correct Neil Marie.
Scientifically, you were going.
In
You're
that
going-
when I crossed the equator, I had to wear a toga and jump in a swimming pool. That was part of my job that day.
Yes.
Just saying.
So you were going west to east.
Oh, for fuck's
Crossing-
sake! Anyway,
It
moving
was
on.
one
moving
line,
on.
guys. Jesus Christ.
Helly then traps Seth in a toilet after nicking his
Radio.
radio. Good.
So here's the
Walkie
thing.
talkie.
That was a very
You should
bad
bring-
charade as well. That looks like a bottle.
So
Nicking his
he
radio.
took his radio, went into the bathroom. He
I
went in
flushed it,
after
yeah, I know.
her.
Yeah.
She didn't just
that's how-
trap him in there.
Oh,
She lured him in.
I was trying to be expedient, Jose. I was trying to be expedient.
Yeah, but imagine having to reach in the toilet for that radio. That's like, ugh.
There's not a lot of people down there. I feel like Blumen's fairly clean. I don't think there'd be
I
any
hope so.
floaters for him to worry about, man.
Oh Lord.
And then the line Helly says, and the shot. Hey guys, can I get a little help? And she turns around, holding the door, and is like talking to the marching band. Hilarious. Her line over, I was cracking up. But then we see Drummond. Drummond's walking. Where is he going? We saw a door that says Coleman on it. I was like, oh, Everton's captain, David? 60 grand, Seamus Coleman? No, it's not him. And we are at the Cold Harbour room. I was like, this is recreating, right, the most worst thing that's happened to her. It has to be. And again, it's very subtle the way they do it. Because I've seen some people go, I don't get it. What's going on? Like, she obviously lost the baby. And so this is the most traumatic thing she went through. And if she can take the crib apart without any emotion, then it proves this severance works. And she starts doing it. And she's wearing the same coat.
Same outfit, isn't it?
Yeah, same outfit, yeah.
It's yeah. So if we're going through like the taking away pain thing, if you could take away the greatest pain anyone has ever felt in their entire life, then it could just do whatever. It could do anything. It's done. Severance is there. It could be sold as a pain relief tablet or something. I don't know. Whatever they got going on.
We then get Goat Lady, Brienne of Tarth. We haven't seen her for a while.
No.
And the baby
I'm so
goat.
happy they brought her back. Oh, so they got the
Oh
cutest.
my god, the baby goat, this entire section.
Yeah.
Oh my.
They got the cutest kid for this.
And
Its
that
eyes
was
were
the trailer for the episode. It was like 8 seconds of the baby goat being pushed in a thing.
That's a great
And then
goat,
we get
Jose.
then we get Dylan to the rescue because Milkshake's just about to break out, and Dylan turns up and shoves a fucking vending machine. Yes,
and
Dylan.
again, with an amazing delivery, that scream. I mean, it's not on par with Gretchen, but like that.
Nothing's on fire.
I had to rewatch him being stuck in this room a couple of times because I was like, how did he not get out with her
to
just
be
pulling
honest,
it at the very beginning?
I was the
Like,
same.
he's huge.
Massive.
And he
He's
like the first
strong.
instance of pulling that door open would get it out probably, if he tried.
Yeah.
And then with this, and then I was like, so it was a pull, and then I was a bit confused when the vending machine came in because the door was open at that point, and he was trying to push the vending machine down. I was thinking the door was closed still, and he was trying to push the door into the vending machine, but he was trying to push the door outwards, but the vending machine plugged the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it got pushed to the side and in the door.
Yeah.
It was chaotic scene at that point because, like I say, the camera work goes really chaotic as well to match like the drumming and the performance side of it and all that. And so again, I love the way the editing did it all.
But I agree with David. Kind of the physics of it did not really make sense.
Yeah.
Also, Milkshake must be getting a weird sense of deja vu here again because once again he's being locked, trapped in a room by an employee.
By Dylan, same employee.
Same
employee, exactly.
And of course, we then have enter the room, and that's when we see the baby crib. And I was like, my note literally says, you utter bastards. Who are you? But then we're back to Goat Lady. Mammalians Nurturables brings an offering.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Goat Lady has taken the baby goat to Drummond. They better not kill it. But offering? And then as Drummond says, has it verve? It does. Wiles, the most of its flock. And then the most bizarre line, this beast will be entombed with a cherished woman whose spirit must guide it to Keir's door. So what? Like they were going to put Gemma and the goat and kill them in this room?
That's so weird. Yeah. So weird.
Well, I mean, I thought they already killed the goat, but they're gonna bury the goat and Gemma together.
I felt like it was like a spiritual
but
thing.
This doesn't make any sense to me because the whole point
Do you
is
know when you
Severance.
put the coin on the ferryman, like so it guides people through the ferryman? That's sort of how I saw it. So like the lamb would guide them to Keir.
I thought I was kind of getting into some pharaohs and ancient Egyptian shit because killing people and animals to bury them with the already dead. So it's like Keir's a pharaoh in this scenario.
This is
Similar thing,
again.
yeah.
Similar thing, yeah, because like it's kind of like their own religion. So yeah, they
Yeah, this is the cult portion of the show where they're like,
Very
yeah,
cult.
they really believe what they're doing is
Brienne
part
of
of it.
Tarth did not look happy about the goat.
So is that the purpose of all of the lambs? Is just to guide the dead to
goats.
Keir?
Seems
that's
like it.
That's a question. That's a good question because like we saw when they visited them the second time, there are adult goats among the flock.
Are baby goats called lambs?
No,
Wait, they're not, are
kids.
they? Kids. Thank you.
Kids.
Can't kill kids, David. Can't kill kids.
But then what stood out to me is she asked how many more.
Yeah.
So
How many more must I give? As many as the founder calls.
because we were talking about like the other files, which now means other people. So were those? Was that in reference to other people? Have they done
Each
this
person
before?
needs a goat.
Yeah.
I meant to say this earlier, but Petey said multiple people live down there. So I think Gemma is one of many people that have been sacrificed.
And they've just not kind of shown us that yet. You hear Mark's running down the corridors and you hear the banging on the door. Who thought Mark was banging on the goat room door?
Yeah, I did think so that he
The
he
camera cuts
mistook the
outside and it's the opposite room.
Seven heist begins. The seven heist begins.
It does.
So we didn't expect this episode to be so funny. We also didn't expect this episode to be the single most violent episode of Severance we've ever seen. Because when Drummond sees Mark, he's like, "Oh, no, I'm lost. I'm just going to go this way." And Drummond just starts rabbit punches him in the face.
Yeah.
Okay, did anyone else laugh with that punch? Because thank you. I'm not a horrible person. Because
it was
that
so
punch,
straight. And just like,
it was
bang.
so hilarious. The timing of it, just like
He just starts beating the ever-loving piss out of him after that.
I think Innie Mark held his own.
Pretty well, yeah.
For his size,
Drummond's
yeah.
fucking massive dude.
yeah,
And he was doing all right.
He was smaller and wiry. He had the speed.
yeah.
Whereas, he was more like super heavyweight.
Yeah. That first face punch I thought was just be like, okay, now get in line. And then he was going to take him back. But as soon as he threw him against the wall, and I'm like, oh, he's going to kill him.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, he's going to kill him because he's completed Cold Harbour. He's expendable now. I part of me was like, is he going to kill him? Run, Mark, run. He's going to kill Mark. And then Goat Lady with the save. Yes, Brienne of Tarth has entered the chat.
And that is why they picked her.
That's why they picked her, because she was going to fight Drummond. So they must have known that when they cast her. We need someone who can literally go toe-to-toe with Drummond.
This woman fought the fucking mountain. Drummond is nothing to her.
Yes. But then Mark stops her from killing Drummond. And she's like, okay, yeah, no more killing. I was like, yes, Brienne of Tarth. And this is the bloodiest Severance has ever been.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking.
I want to say something on Brienne of Tarth's character. Because for me, that turn, if you'd have just spent a little bit more time with her character, just like one more scene or something, or two more scenes earlier on, because she only had that one scene like early on in the season, and then there was this scene where it sort of fed into the fact that she didn't want to kill this goat, so you could see it. That's how they did it. But if they just did a little bit more for that, it would have made that moment of her being like, bam, just that little bit more like, whoop. You know,
I think it's like Ben Stiller said. They did the bit with the goats in season 1 and were like, okay, what do we do now? And I don't think you're going to get more of the goats after this. I think that's it. And everyone loves baby goats.
No, I'm not about the goats. I'm about her character.
Her
No,
character.
yeah.
I see what you mean. Like, I was so happy to see her again as well. But you see them in episode 2, and like obviously they cast Gwendolyn Christie, like an amazing actress, and I'm just like they just cast her for that one scene. So yeah, I was also hoping to see a bit more of her.
They cast her for 2 scenes.
Yeah, but I was hoping to see because when the announcement was made, I generally thought she was going to be in a regular, or at least show up in more episodes. So yeah, I agree with David. They could have had one more scene with her,
just to plant the seed of like dissent if Drummond in that other scene.
I feel like they didn't give us more of her because at the end of the day, the whole goats thing, it was a joke thing they wrote in season 1 that they had to pay off because so many people were going on about it for season 2. And this was the quickest way to bring goats in, deal with it, and then hopefully.
Yeah, but that still doesn't excuse lazy character writing.
But also-
I would just that like that's not what we're saying. Like we're saying like if
Yeah.
you're gonna introduce a character and have them have like such a pivotal moment, like taking out Drummond,
100%, yeah.
they should have built that up a bit more. I do agree
But
with that.
I mean, also goats are a major part of the what's the not the tiers.
The law, you know, the like.
the tempers,
tempers. There we go. Yeah, it's one of the tempers is represented by a goat. So I
goat
think
head, humanoid
goat head.
Yeah. And of course, in the credits, Mark turns into a goat. So, you know, there's all that to
Yeah, I
unpack
feel like
at some
that's
point.
so I feel like adding a little more goat characterization isn't bad.
In season 2, like you say that they didn't have really a plan for it in season 1, but they wrote that plan in season 2.
Mhm.
So that doesn't mean that they couldn't have still wrote another scene with her in it. Yeah.
I agree.
I'm not mad about it. I'm like, if we didn't see her again or any goats again, I'd be okay with it.
That was my
No.
one big thing with
Yeah.
this episode, which was a flaw for me, or like that was the one thing. And
Really?
actually, there was maybe later on as well.
Yeah.
but
But no,
there was
We
a
just
no,
want
small
more
thing.
I
more
agree
cute
with you.
goats.
All this tells us that Keir had a goat fetish. Like
got lots of fetishes, this guy.
if he like insisted that his like kin, like his flock, get buried with goats, he definitely had a goat fetish.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
So, Emil thanks you. Emil was the name of the goat. And again, Mark's reaction is, oh, okay. I was like, brilliant. Yes, Mark.
After just being choked out.
Yeah. I knew immediately that Emil was the name, but then when she's like clarifying, I'm like, God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Because it's like
Look, it's the clarification that makes that joke work, man.
Yeah.
And so now Mark has Drummond hostage. He's got the gun to his head.
Ooh, yeah.
And, oh, man. We've learned, do not move between 7 floors while holding a gun to someone's head. Because that changeover did not go well, as Altie Mark has just accidentally killed Drummond.
Best scene in the series.
This is the bloodiest scene we've
Oh
ever
my
seen
God.
in Severance.
This section from the lift open to this, from it being Outie Mark to him finding Gemma in the door, was the funniest part of
was
this
brilliant.
whole episode. The whole fucking show. I was laughing my head off through that
Yeah.
whole section.
Oh,
It was so funny.
But all the bits we cut to in this are funny at this moment as well. Like Mark walking out of the elevator looking like a low-rent John Wick. I was like, it's Mark Wick. Because he's got the blood, he's got the suit. I was like, oh yeah, he's kind of got that same look.
The shock on his face where he's like, oh,
I just
the
like
blood
when he
squirting
like
everywhere.
coming to and just having this dying giant next to him. Oh, genius!
Yeah.
Milkshake trying to escape and then him being bloodied
Hit
in the
by the-
head by a tuba, which
Oh
just
yeah, because
was
they're plugging the top out.
It was a trombone.
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
trombone,
a
wasn't it?
trombone.
Yeah,
That's it, a trombone. That was
Yeah.
just But then my favorite of that sequence, like of just Drummond falling dead, and then the elevator keeping like unable to close on his
Yeah.
legs. And then just like Mark tiptoeing around that, he's like, "Okay, off to find my wife."
Although at this point, I'm like, he knows what's going on. Why is he not rushing? I'm like,
I mean, he's just killed a guy. He's a little in shock.
And it's the first
Yeah.
time he's never been down there as well, so
Yeah.
he must have been really disorientated. He'd never
True.
seen what like any of that area of Lumen's like. Yeah,
Well, he's never seen. Well, other
Yeah,
than
yeah,
like
never
where
been-
he
yeah.
enters, like he's also not used to like lumen architecture because that's like a
True,
maze
very
down
true.
there.
Helly then starts trying to reason with them to help her even more. And again, I was just cracking up. It's like, why have these guys not stopped playing? Like,
Yeah,
why
that
are
was
they
weird.
Still playing when Milchek, who's supposed to be their boss and in charge of them.
Well,
the
no,
second they locked
Milkshake
him
is
the
in
door-
charge of the like MDR. You don't know if he's in charge of choreography and
Well, I
merriment.
feel like he was because he was leading the conductor. He was a conductor at the
Yeah.
start of it.
I mean, just in general, like, hey, they're blocking this guy in the bathroom
right?
and they're
now,
using a
these guys
vending
got a
machine.
routine to finish. They've
Exactly.
worked
I
hard
think
on this
they just
routine.
like they're so like set on finishing
Yeah.
their like
They
song.
want their perks. They want their perks.
Exactly. They probably have their own perks, so it's like they can't stop playing until they're
man.
dismissed.
But then, most importantly, Mark finds the room for Cold Harbour.
Yeah.
But outside, he bumps into Nurse Sandra Bernhard because I
God,
can't
it's
remember
so
her
funny.
character's name. And again, this is just the mark of a brilliant actress who does so much with so little. Step off, fucko. Which is an insult I've never heard in my life. Just Just so good. And then he's like threatening with the gun, which only had one bullet, which he's already used. So and they're just shouting at each
But
other.
it wasn't a
"Ah!"
bullet. It wasn't a bullet. It's like a thing that
It's
People
a life
bullet
stop
in there.
Yeah, because
goat killing
the
dart
thing shoots
animal.
out to stop like shrapnel going into the livestock.
But that's not important because he's just threatening her with an empty gun, and they're just yelling at each other.
Oh my
Fuck
God,
you!
it's-
No, fuck you!
Brilliant. I mean, she could have knocked her out. He could have knocked her out with the gun, but like Mark is like a not violent person, so it's just like did not like occur to him.
Yeah.
And then cleverly, this was really well done, wasn't it?
It was
Really well
uses
done.
Drummond's blood to open the door. I was like, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quick thinking. I would not have thought of that if I was in that situation.
Yeah,
I literally play video games, David. Come on.
I literally have in my notes like that moment written out, clever boy. Like it's just like
Clever boy. He walks in and we finally have the face-to-face with Mark and Gemma. Does she recognise him? Doesn't she? I mean, he's covered in blood and beaten the fuck up, and this guy's just staggered in, and she's like, "Come with me if you want to live." And you're like, he's going full Sarah Connor on you.
Yeah.
But a question here. Why were the Egans and Dr. Mauer not trying to stop him? If they can have a massive marching band down there, are you telling me they don't have a security department?
I
So
don't.
many
That's what I'm
questions.
wondering.
I think
Right?
Drummond is the security. I
That's
think
one guy.
I think that like harks back to what we said like before, that like Lumen is not as powerful as we think they are, and it's just like Drummond was their big gun, and now he.
Well, this is what I want to get into. So, any and all questions about the marching band right now. So many questions about the marching band. I doubt they permanently live on a severed floor. Though, are they a department? It says they are a department. They are a department of choreography from merriment. What would they be used for other than, like, is it every time someone completes something good at work? Oh, like, today we're going to go and do this. Right, we're playing for this department today. Oh, we're drumming for this department today. What does their normal day look like? Is it just a short-term severed gig?
Yeah, my question is like, how does no one hear them rehearsing? Like
Soundproofing.
Must be
Soundproofing is
very
really good.
far away.
yeah.
Think about Miss Casey. She in the season 1, she would talk about how she would only come for sessions, and that day that she went to talk to Haley R was her longest day. So these guys are probably in the same situation where they
Really
just
short
practice.
Yeah, but because you need to reharse that. Like,
Yeah,
they
you
were.
rehearse and then you celebrate. And
Well,
then
you
that's
don't
it.
rehearse. You
I
just
mean-
you've got them ready, and you just literally bring them in to perform.
No, you do need to rehearse. Like
Yeah,
the-
your innies need to practice. I don't know
I
if
mean,
they.
they're called choreography and merriment. They need to know the choreography. Like
Well,
they,
no,
they,
there was a dancing.
Now, here's
they-
a question:
they
do
were
their
in
Audis
sync.
play instruments?
I
That's
think
my
so.
question.
I do definitely think they're
Muscle
Audis play
memory?
instruments. Yeah, they do. That's why I said like in the group chat that Neil would be part of choreography and merriment because he plays the guitar. Like
Muscle memory there though, Jose. That's an interesting severed thing.
muscle memory.
Would
True, but at the
muscle memory be? Yeah.
But still, it doesn't like translate to like steps and like unless they're
I'm just saying.
Audis know the exact same routine outside of Lumen, and then they come into
No,
Lumen
no,
and
I
get
don't
severed.
think
So
they
that
do.
does not work either.
Muscle memory is totally a thing. Like
Oh, it
my
is.
party piece to playing guitar when I was like 15 was I can reel off Metallica, Nothing Else Matters, like that as a classical intro perfectly. Still to this day, I can play the intro perfectly. I've never forgotten it in over like 30 years, and that's insane to me.
I used to do ballet, and there's one like sequence that I will like because I got it wrong in the fucking exam, and now I can do it perfectly from that day onwards. And
Oh,
you can still
man.
see me doing it in the kitchen, and I haven't danced in like 10 years, but I know that sequence off by heart.
We got to see that.
I think
You
I
gotta see that.
just isn't riding a bike muscle memory.
No, that's
Anyway.
a lie. You know they say you can't, you can never forget how to ride a bike. That is bullshit. 'Cause I
You've
used to
fallen
ride
off a
when
bike,
I was
Neil,
kid.
haven't you?
No. Right, like so. I used to ride a bike when I was a kid, and then my dad got into biking when he retired a few years ago, and I went with him, and he like went out and bought all the gear, and like bought a nice bike, all the stuff, and I just rented a bike from the place because I don't need a bike, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my god, when I was a kid, so I never rode a bike with gears. So when you get like this proper sports style bike with gears, I just like everything jammed, and then I did fall off. So you do forget how to ride a bike.
No, because you
I'm
were
proof.
riding a bike
you never
that
learned
was different.
there. Yeah.
Never learned it. And you know what? Also never learned what happened in the next part of the scene.
Nice. Like it.
Nice,
like,
nice
I like
segue to
Jose
get us
bringing it
back
back.
on topic. Good one, Jose.
Nice.
Good job, Jose.
How would you be if you saw someone bloody saying, "Hey, follow me"? I don't know if I would follow him with all that much blood on him.
Sarah
If my existence was all of that 10 seconds,
Yeah.
essentially, I'd probably be okay with it.
To be honest,
'Cause,
that's
you know,
a good point. She's
Like,
on and
oh,
the
they
grip
just
at that
spilled
point,
juice on
and
you.
then-
But the line we have is, well, the line I wrote was, Mark breaks the barrier because love conquers Severance.
I don't think that's the case. I think because he knows Gemma, he knows how to talk to her and get him to trust her, but she's still wary of him.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. But
Right.
what I'm saying is, her reaction to him breaks the thing. Because you see James, and he's like, oh, fuck. And then Mauer is like, oh, dear. And like, you get the shot of, then James, it cuts back to him again. He's like, don't talk to that. Mauer's like, don't talk to that man. He's here to hurt you.
That was
Yeah.
the mistake I think they made.
Yeah.
I think when the voiceover started coming, that's where I felt like they made a mistake, because after that, I think she was starting to trust the physical person in the room with them, not the voice, overlord voice that she's hearing.
it's a very
Voice
good
of
point.
God. And then, of course, we get James as she kind of like takes his hand. It cuts back to James. And he's like, fuck.
It's also the most like articulate we've ever seen James. Like I could finally understand him.
That was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Didn't need subtitles for that bit.
Yeah,
I then
exactly.
love the camera work and that crash zoom of Mauer bursting through the door. It reminded me of like the Spike Jones Beastie Boys video with like sabotage. Like he comes through the door and then the camera's like boom, all over the place. And yeah, the frantic pace. And then of course we get Nurse Barnhart again with her brilliant line. It's the fucking spouse.
First, they had like a very sweet reunitement before when she gets out.
And she's when she's Gemma again. Sorry.
When she's Gemma again, and they had this really like sweet like, hey, like welcome back to the world moment, and like the
They
acting
recognize
in this.
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the first time, the acting in this is so good, and yeah, and then they run down the hallway, and get to the elevator.
Move Drummond's legs out the way.
Which move
yeah.
Drummond's legs again, peak comedy, just yoink.
That actor, I've seen him in quite a few things recently, and he always dies horribly.
Oh really?
He played a hitman in a Jamie Dornan Irish Australian drama.
Well,
And
spoilers.
Yeah, we won't be watching. Jesus, Neil, what is the matter with you?
I haven't told you the
Every
name of the
time.
fucking show, have I?
Well,
Don't ever watch anything with Jamie Dornan. You'll be fine.
He was also in
Shut your face, Jose. The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, where him and Bez still become friends, and he was a
Yes.
helicopter pilot. I know.
who was drunk and still flew anyways.
I wish
well,
I was
anyway,
drunk.
they had a lovely kiss in the elevator, which was again
Yes.
hilarious when they went the next.
But then as they come up, they switch again, don't they? So then we have
Mark
we go from
Innie.
Outie Mark and Gemma to Innie Mark and
Mark.
Miss Casey.
Making out. Oh, this moment. Like when Innie Mark, because like Innie Mark obviously knows what's happening, but still he's like, oh,
What does she say to him? Is
what has taken place?
Yes.
A whole
Always
lot of
so
shit
proper.
has taken place. But before we get back to that, we have the red light. The alarm comes on now, so we've got that just always bathed in red. We
Man,
cut
that's
back
so
to
cool.
Milchek looking and just giving up. Basically, he's like, "Oh, that look of Milchek thinking, shit, I failed."
Just knowing, yeah, I'm fired. I'm fired.
Yeah,
Like that
that's-
moment he looks himself in the mirror,
Yeah.
he's just like, I'm fired.
that was a trigger in his head going like I felt like that was a trigger moment in his
Yeah.
brain.
Yeah, I was just like, "Oh, he knows he's going to get the blame for this," which is a bit bollocks because, like, are you telling me the 20 to 30 people in merriment
room.
and in choreography couldn't have given him a hand there?
Yeah,
oh, no,
right.
we had to complete our song, right? No, you should have stopped the fucking main person you're here to stop.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
then Mauer chases them as they get into the lift as well, and he's like, "You'll kill them all."
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Well, I think
That was really
menacing.
interesting.
But it's you'll kill them all, not.
You'll kill them all.
Now, is he being real or is he just trying to like scare them into coming back?
That is
Nah,
a
he's
good
being,
question.
I think he's being real.
He
I think
must-
he's being real.
Really? I
Do you
don't
think he
know.
means all the different personalities of her? The
Yeah,
20
all the
previous
innies.
ones?
I think
No.
all the innies.
Oh,
see,
all
that's
of
the
her.
same.
That's
Yeah, it's
he
he
I
talking
did,
all the
that's
innies
a
in
good
general.
point, Neil. I didn't think of
Oh,
that like
wow.
that, but
Yeah,
I thought he
all-
was referring to the
All the
others.
work they've done on her, 24 different personalities, and they'll all go if she walks out of there.
Yeah.
To be
I
honest, like
assumed
I'm
all the
all
innies. Yeah.
for
I assumed all the
rights.
innies originally.
Yeah,
I
same.
literally
I'm
just
for
thought
all
that.
for the rights of the innies, but her like personalities that were just existed to get tortured. I think you could let those go. Like,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but their life, you know, like,
Yeah,
what's the
that is a
difference
fair
between
point,
those
that is a fair
innies and
point.
Mark S or, you know, any of the other?
Well, I suppose some of them have only existed for a hell of a lot less time,
Yeah,
because we
and
don't know. I mean, the whole what they've done to Gemma is just like, even with the episode
Horrible.
explaining it, there's just so much more we don't understand about it, and in terms of time and how many different ones. And I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't see even close to 24 of the different personalities there in that episode. And of course, we cut back to the room, and Milchek finally gets out, and facing him is Dylan saying his line that he gets every season finale. Fuck you, Mr. Milchek. But this time, all of choreography and merriment are stood behind him.
They finally stopped.
I love when he gets out. When he gets out and there's that stare in his eyes, and then he gets on top of it and he like prowls like a beast.
Yeah, he's about
yeah,
to.
when
like
he's on
like a
top,
tiger, like
yeah,
the,
like he's gonna pounce. Oh,
Oh.
it's so intimidating, even with all those people in front of him.
But I mean, how does he not know? I think it's a movie thing or a TV thing where it's like, oh, he jumps up on and he's about to pounce, but then you reveal to the rest of the room, and they're all
Yeah, but
looking at him.
he's seen that already though.
Yeah.
I
Like
think
before he jumps up and he can see it straight
Oh,
away,
so
and then he jumps up and pounces on top of it, and
I
he's
think
looking
it's a
at him.
hubris thing. I think he's like
He's
I'm,
ready for
I'm
a fight.
fucking, exactly. I'm milkshake, motherfuckers. Don't
Yeah. Oh, I
don't
fucking love
disobey
Milchek.
me.
I think Milchek is one of the best written villains in a
Yeah.
very long time.
Yeah.
A villain that you can empathize with and like genuinely care about and see his point
Yeah.
of view. Like I think he's brilliant.
But I mean,
Yeah.
most of almost all the characters in the show are like that. They're so multifaceted and so well written that you can empathise with almost any. I mean, bar the villains, I know like Jane and Drummond.
Drummond,
they're kind of like,
yeah, maybe because they knew he was gonna die, so like they didn't really.
Yeah.
we
like,
need a
want us
villain because
to
like
care
there's
about
always a
him.
turn for Cobell. There's potentially the turn
I
for.
mean, we still don't
Milchek.
know why Cabell walked away when she saw
No.
Drummond.
Was
You
it
know, when
Drummond?
she
It
saw-
wasn't Drummond. It was a
It
different
wasn't
driver.
Drummond.
It was someone
It
else.
was someone else.
Yeah.
Oh, was
Well,
it?
drive. Oh no, with the driver now, people were speculating get in the car and go somewhere. That's potentially like the Bert and Earth thing. So
Oh,
she's like,
so
I'm not getting in the car with those people.
that guy was a new driver?
He was a driver, wasn't he? And we know what
Yeah.
drivers do now. So
Exactly.
potentially it was that. And of course, this brings us to the final scene, the final sequence of season 2 of the show. They're running through the red corridor. They get to the door. Gemma goes outside, and Mark doesn't. Mark stays. And the second that happened, I was like, that's so perfectly done. Because of course Innie Mark would. He's freed Gemma, so he's done his bit. But Innie Mark loves Helly.
When they go down the hallway, he lets Gemma leave. Mark Innie stays. And so
Hesitate.
it's hesitates and he kind of
then-
waits to before he leaves because he doesn't know if he even wants to, it seems like. And
And-
then
No, it's
Helly
when he
shows
sees
up.
Helly, yeah.
And then Helly comes.
He hesitates to push it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He hesitates to push the bar.
And then Helly
he
comes.
And then Helly
turns.
shows up.
behind,
And
yeah.
And then he's conflicted.
Because he's like, oh yeah, I've got to go. Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I've got to go. Hesitates to do it.
He's conflicted. Like he knows the right thing to do is like to step out and join Gemma, and then Helly appears, and I genuinely thought she was gonna tell him to go. Like I thought she was there to tell him to go through the door, but she didn't.
They'd already had that conversation, like pretty much, hadn't they?
Exactly.
Like, earlier on in the
So that's why I thought she was literally there to like egg him on. He's like, "It's okay, go," but she doesn't say
She just
anything.
stands there, yeah.
She just stands there, and then he makes the decision himself to turn around and leave
Yeah.
Gemma at the stairwell.
Well, she's pleading the entire
Well, she's
time. to come,
screaming
like,
her
Mark,
head
yeah.
off, and that door is not
Yeah.
soundproof. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
Mark could have just said something like, "I'm sorry." No, he just like coldly turns
like-
his back to her,
Yeah.
like,
and
and-
runs.
and runs,
Yeah.
and grabs Helly by the hand, and they run into the Lumen corridor sunset.
Of the 70s.
Of hell.
One thing I was confused about with that section though, so that's the same door where Helly was walking out and in of when she first in the first episode.
Yes,
or
Yeah.
second
correct.
episode, right? So she was able to get back in pretty
No.
easy. Yeah,
Yeah.
because when she came out,
Mark
Yeah.
locked the door, I think.
No, I think it was
I
because
think it's just like a fire exit, so
Milkshake was there.
you can only get
Yeah,
out, but you
that's
can't get
another
in.
thing. Milkshake
We've got
was
into the
there.
whole doors opening from both ways kind of thing again now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, Milkshake was
No.
there. Because David, I had the exact same thought. But I think because Milkshake was there when Helly was going in and out.
Yeah, she was
He
never there by
Okay.
herself.
There, he had
I
like a
don't think.
key to open the door
Makes
and let her
sense,
back in.
Okay.
Like, I think it could be explained by
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I had the exact same thought because I was just
Mm.
like, yeah, doors open both ways, people. Like,
Mhm.
I think that might have just been one way that way.
I've seen two camps. I've seen people who are happy for Mark and Helly, and I've seen people upset
Others
at
who
Mark.
want to burn them to the ground.
I'm so torn
Yeah.
on it.
I am
I'm very
so
torn on it.
angry at Mark at the. I am. I just said that at the group's chat. I was like, we're all pissed at Mark, right? I was pissed. I just like. I mean, I'm German, so I always favor the side of logic, and like,
Well,
there's.
that's where I
It's-
think I'm surprised you feel that way because logic would say any Mark doesn't know better. He
to
knows
be honest,
Helly.
that's true. That is like a good point. Like,
Yeah.
all he knows is Helly.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And so
Um,
He doesn't want to lose the person he loves. He's done his part to help Outie Mark. He's freed his wife.
And essentially, all he knows, if he goes out that doors and follows Gemma,
Yeah,
that could be
he
him
does.
dead.
yeah.
That's what he's.
True.
So for all he knows, that moment that they've got together, where they're running down that corridor, is all
They
is
have.
all they have
Yeah.
left in their entire existence. Is that one moment? So that I was annoyed as well to begin
Yeah.
with, and then I sort of thought about it more, listened to the
Mhm.
documentary at the end of it, which was sort of explained that
Yeah.
10 minutes more with each other sort of idea. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay, I get it.
I'm going to disagree completely, Marie. I thought it was his right. I thought it was the right decision. I didn't have a problem with it at all. In fact, I was rooting more for Mark and Helly than I was for Outie Mark and Gemma.
Ooh.
I know Gemma's been through some shit, but she's free now.
But without her husband.
Yeah. And kind of traumatized screaming at a door. Like,
Yeah.
man.
And we don't actually know she's free. We just know she's out that door.
exactly.
Yeah, I
She's
mean,
still in the
she's got
building.
to get out of the building.
She's still in the
100%.
building.
So that song that is playing at the end as they run in slow mo, and then the freeze frame, the gorgeous freeze frame. But then, did you notice the way the image kind of went? It looked like a painting almost.
Yeah.
They probably softened up the freeze frame just to clean it up. a
No,
little
it
bit.
looks like a
No,
painting.
they did it. It was a choice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just
Oh.
like it's a callback to like the
70s.
paintings around the floor, like marking moments.
Also,
that-
made me wonder whether there's going to be a time jump for the next season, but that we'll get onto in a future one.
Yeah.
So the song that they are playing at the end is "Windmills of Your Mind," originally written in French by Michael Legland as "Les Moulins de Mon Coeur." English version recorded by Noel Harrison in 1968, and the English version was used in the original 1968 film The Thomas Crown Affair.
Oh.
About a couple who have undeniable chemistry and who have an affair, but a film where ultimately the woman, Vicky, is stood up by Thomas Crown at the end of the film, and the audience never learns what becomes of either of their characters at the end of the film.
I think my Suspicious Minds song was a bit better, personally.
That was probably
You caught
cheaper.
in the trap.
It's
you
a
know,
bit more
Apple-
on the
Get
nose,
out.
but
Apple are losing $1 billion a year despite Severance.
because I
Oh.
love you
You
too much, baby.
We were all thinking it. Gemma hasn't actually escaped yet. She's still in the looming building. There is a security guard in the lobby that you have to come through to get into the building. So
And security
although
gates.
she's escaped, I'm sorry,
And security gates, because it's
and
like
security gates.
like a subway.
I can't believe that the severed floor is so secretive about everything that some random woman who's like looks like she's been through some shit they're just going to let walk out of the building, and she's still in the town of Keir. They have. I still don't think she's out. There's too much to get through there, man.
But I mean, I like it. We saw with Petey, they couldn't find Petey, and he was in the town. So I feel like just escaping the
But we
the
didn't
building
see how
facility.
Petey got out. I think Petey, they believed he was still his innie
No.
and his outie when he left.
Oh yeah.
Because that's how
Yeah.
Petey
He
probably
just
got
walked out and then
He just
never
walked
came
out.
back to work.
Oh, they didn't know he would. But yeah, that's why I feel like as long as Gemma can escape the facility, she's gonna be fine. Being in Keir.
But at the end, they kind of looked happy, I guess, running in slow motion. Do you know
Yeah.
what film that reminded me of? The bit where they're running like that towards the end? The Graduate.
Yeah, I thought the
Yeah.
same thing. That moment at the
Yeah.
end where they're like on the
Yeah.
bus. Yeah.
Yeah. It's that kind of, okay, we've just made a big mistake potentially, but we also don't care.
The what now sort of.
The what now thing,
like,
yeah.
have I
Yeah.
fucked up sort of? Yeah.
Or now what? Like, is this it?
Yeah.
I was sad that Irv was kind of not in the episode at all, but I get that his sort of story was kind of finished in the last one, but like not even a little bit. I was still sad
Yeah.
about it.
I
So
still
final-
think we're gonna see him again.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
We're
I
not.
hope so.
That's not the end of Irv, but and yeah, there was a lot in this episode already. So yeah, but his presence was missed.
I feel like Miss Huang is going to be the only one we don't see again, if at all.
I agree with you on that one. Like, yeah.
Seven Heist.
Severed Heist.
Don't hide.
Yes.
I have one more point. Because I read that they originally wrote it that it cut before Mark actually made a decision, and that was going to be the cliffhanger. of the
Oh my
season.
God.
How would you guys have felt about that?
That would have been
because as
man.
terms of cliffhangers wise, like this season finale is not as bad as She's Alive. Like that was a torturous cliffhanger. This one, at least, like obviously you want to know what happens, but you kind of has an idea how everything ends. But yeah, him just like if it just cuts with him in the middle staring at Gemma and Helly, that would have been pure torture.
I would have been like, well played, guys. Well played.
I
You
think the
fucking
ending we got.
bastards.
That would have made me feel sick.
Yeah.
Like sick, like genuinely, I'd have felt sick of that. Like,
I think the ending we got is better than that.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Oh,
it's
yeah,
good that he
definitely.
made a decision.
I think bringing on to my last point then, I felt like this could have been a series finale, let alone a season finale. Like if there was never any more Severance, I'd kind of be okay with that ending.
No.
I think that was kind of intentional, because like Ben Stiller wrote that like that for end of season 1 as well, because he had no idea how the show was going to do, and
Yeah.
like he still says to this day he's surprised that people watch Severance. So and I think that's like a clever writing choice where like you leave it open, like obviously, and it has been renewed for season 3 now. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, obviously, I would have been still very.
It's a
annoyed.
downbeat. It's kind of a happy / sad ending,
Sad
but it's an
ending,
amazing ending. If
Yeah,
it ended
it's-
like that, people would be like, "That's one of the best finales of all time of any shows."
Yeah, I agree. But there's still so many unanswered questions. But
There is so many.
I'm okay with a show leaving a bunch of unanswered questions, or like at least some answered questions. You know, not having to answer everything that it's laid
Yeah.
down, because a
Yeah,
show like
yeah.
this lays a lot down that
I
some
agree.
of them aren't going to
Yeah.
all get picked up.
to me, unanswered questions are better than answered questions that are stupidly answered.
But-
like,
Yes.
But with
What?
the finale shout here, I feel like the other character plot points are too
Yeah.
big to have left at this point.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it would have been a nice close for maybe Mark, but other characters, not so much.
like
Yeah.
Irv is
What's
still on
Irv's
that train.
backstory?
Yeah.
What's Erb's backstory?
Who's he
What's going on
working
with
for?
Dylan?
Yeah.
Literally anybody else except Mark.
Yeah,
even
everyone.
Helly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
more, and there's a lot more to explain there. My last comment is, where the fuck do we go for next season? Well, normally we would get into that now, but this is already quite a long episode, and we just love talking about Severance so much. You're going to get a bonus episode. So find out in our bonus episode of We Needed Roads, where we are going to gleefully speculate and most likely fail miserably at predicting where we think season 3 of Severance will go. And we want to know where you think Severance season 3 is going to go. Drop us comments on our threads, drop us comments on our Instagrams, drop us comments on our Twitter. We want to know. Drop your comments to us and we will read them out on the episode. And we did actually ask people for their comments on this episode. And of course, as normally, I did it on the day we were recording and we don't get a lot of responses. So big shout out to our friends over at the Doom Generation. And they said, I thought it was amazing. I really enjoyed it. But if they make me wait a year or forever for season 3, I will never forgive that cliffhanger. I loved that apparently the milkshake dance was totally improv. I also enjoyed the Mark, Innie, Outie camcorder convo. Yes.
I think Ben Stiller's come out already and said that it's not going to take as long for season 3
Yeah.
to come out.
Yeah.
Like,
Believe
Well, they
they're
had
writing it now.
I mean, the reason they had such a long gap was because of COVID, and then they
Yeah.
had the writer strikes. Like,
Yeah.
it was
Mhm.
a very unfortunate situation.
And I think they said it was like 18 weeks of filming as well.
That's a lot.
Which is a lot
And
of
isn't the
filming.
budget like something crazy as well per episode, which I don't get. Well, technical way, I suppose, in time it
Technical
takes to
way.
do.
Yeah.
Like,
And they did it a lot practically. So
Mm. Right. Well, that is all the time we have on this week's episode of the seventh section of the We Need a Rose podcast. Marie, yes, where can people find your outie in the Lumen Sphere?
you can find my outie on the interwebs under the handle Life on Mars. That is TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. It's only 3 platforms, but I struggle to remember them. And then if you want some sustainable shenanigans, you can check out my other podcast, Two Girls, One Reusable Cup.
David L., where can people find you on the Lumen Sphere?
They can find my Audi at Instagram, We Needed Roads, and on Blue Sky under Long D. Just search Long D on Blue Sky, and I'll come up. And Jose, that was very inappropriate.
You're the one
Especially
who
when he
has
said,
the...
come up.
I was getting ready
you're
to
the one who
clap.
has the handle Long D, David. You can only blame
Hey.
yourself here.
Hey, I can't help it. Okay?
You can, and you should.
I was born with it. Okay?
Jose L., where can people find your outie in the Lumen Sphere?
My outie has photography Instagram at Jose Lopez Photos and a website www.jlopezphotos.com. No photos of Jennifer Lopez or any of her weddings, unfortunately.
Jennifer Garner?
It's not the same.
To Ben Affleck it is.
Oh,
Affleck burn. Sad Ben Affleck.
we will never have him on the podcast now. Like, seriously.
I mean, there was a really big chance of that happening as well, wasn't it? And you can find my outie at Needed Roads on Twitter. We are always calling it Twitter. I am on Instagram at NeilGregory78 and also on Threads. And people love Severance on Threads for some reason. They just love it. Threads. We are not getting into the whole accent thing, Jose. We are not. No. Shut your face. And you can also see me on Blue Sky at NeilG78. And of course, if you've been enjoying our Severance specials on the We Need Roads podcast, you can find a playlist on our YouTube channel of all 10 episodes now the season is complete. And don't forget, we do a regular podcast as well. So give us a like, give us a subscribe. And as I say, we have our video episodes on YouTube, and you can also see them on Spotify as well now. We're on both platforms, and I think you can find us on all the other ones as well. That's all the time we have. Ladies, gentlemen, I'll see you at the Equator.